Kirk trying to win it to Thielen, caught at the 5!
I got 3 words for you. You like that?
What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to Skull Network. My name is Nick, and welcome back to the NFL Weekly Pick segment on the channel. This marks the divisional round of the NFL playoffs. It was a crazy wild card week, and crazy enough to where I only went 3-3 in my picks. Not exactly what I wanted, but that's why we have a few more rounds of the playoffs. Hopefully I can get something perfect in one of the coming weeks. Let's not waste any more time though, let's get into the divisional picks. Kicking things off, we have the first game on Saturday. It's going to be the Rams versus the Green Bay Packers. And the real question here is, who's going to be playing quarterback for the Rams? Will it be Jared Goff or will it be John Wolford? At the moment, we're not 100% sure. Either way, I don't think the Rams fare very well in this game. Because let's face it, with Jared Goff in last week, the Rams heavily relied on Cam Akers. Jared Goff only completed around half his passes, and he also took a couple sacks. He was just slow in decision making and just didn't look like his usual self. Jared Goff has also never played very well in games that are below freezing, which this game will be. The high will be about 31 degrees, whereas Aaron Rodgers obviously has lived in this for most of his career and knows exactly how to play in these sort of conditions. The other main story here that many people are talking about is how is Jalen Ramsey going to match up against Davante Adams? Because let's face it, this is number one in their respective positions in the NFL. And Jalen Ramsey was able to shut down DK Metcalf pretty handily for the third time this season last week against the Seahawks. If he can shut down someone like Davante Adams, which who knows, then the Packers are going to have to play a different offense than they're used to. But I do think if that happens, that the Packers have so many weapons. You got Aaron Jones, you have AJ Dillon, you have Marquez Valdez-Scantling, you have Robert Tonyan. There's still a lot of areas for Aaron Rodgers to attack the Rams defense. Obviously one of the top rated defenses that should hopefully have Aaron Donald back. We're not 100% sure on that now, but I just think that the Packers offense is a little too potent, and I think it can overcome this number one ranked Rams defense. But I do expect a lot of running in this game from both sides of the ball just due to the weather conditions. And with all this being said, I really am a big fan of the Packers in this game. As much as I hate to say it, you guys know I love the Vikings, hate the Packers, but this is just too big of a task, too insurmountable of a mountain for the Rams. So in the first game of the divisional round, I'll be taking the Green Bay Packers. Moving on to the last game for Saturday, it's going to be the Baltimore Ravens and the Buffalo Bills. And for the Buffalo Bills, well, let's face it, their run game has been basically non-existent for most of the season. So of course, Josh Allen and guys like Stephon Diggs are going to be focusing exclusively in the pass game, which is going to be very important for the Bills to get Cole Beasley back up to full strength, because if not, then it might be a tough day against guys like Marcus Peters, Marlon Humphreys, and that stout Ravens defense that was able to shut down both facets of the Titans offense last week. Looking over at the Ravens offense too against this Bills defense, it could be a long day for the Bills run defense, as they gave up over 170 yards last week against the Colts, and the Ravens ran for 200 plus yards last week. Of course, a lot of that was in part to Lamar Jackson and his amazing game, but that just spells a lot of trouble for Buffalo in this one. So I definitely think this could be a shootout, but I think the most important thing, or one of the most important things, is Josh Allen has to play a near perfect game, and the Bills offense cannot turn the ball over, because with as hot as the Ravens have been towards the end of the regular season and now at the start of the playoffs, if you make even a single mistake, there's a good chance they're going to make the Bills pay. I think the best chance for Buffalo here, as I said, reduce the turnovers or eliminate them altogether, and if you can somehow manage to shut down the Baltimore run game, then that puts you in a really good spot, because let's face it, Lamar Jackson more than likely is not going to kill you through the air if he is forced to. He thrives on running himself and handing the ball off and just succeeding like that, because that's what they've been doing all season. With that all being said, it's a major toss-up here. This is going to be the biggest toss-up maybe of the entire postseason. It definitely is up to this point, but in this one, considering all the circumstances I've pointed out now, I am going to go with the Baltimore Ravens in this one, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Bills were able to pull it out as well. Moving over to the first game on Sunday, this is going to be the one that everyone wants to watch. This is going to be the Cleveland Browns and the Kansas City Chiefs. The Browns pulled off that incredible upset against the Steelers in the wild card round, and while they got that great lead to start things off in the first quarter, it's not going to matter against Kansas City. No matter how big of a lead you muster, Pat Mahomes and this Chiefs offense is built to come back. They did it against Houston last year. They got down 24-0, and Pat Mahomes turned on the Jets and ended up throwing for 5 touchdowns and putting up 50-plus points. So just know, Browns, your defense is not safe, especially giving up 500-plus yards to Big Ben last week. I understand some of that was in garbage time because obviously the Steelers had to throw the ball basically from the get-go, but Pat Mahomes can put up massive numbers on this Browns defense. The number one thing that the Browns must do if they want a good shot at winning this game is basically split into two things for me. One, you have to have Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb run the ball like they've never run before. Essentially, you have to keep drives going with that. Also have Baker Mayfield come in when he needs to, convert third downs, but keeping drives alive and keeping Pat Mahomes and that offense off the field is going to be your best bet. And there's definitely a chance, because as we know, the Chiefs don't have the greatest offense in the world. They definitely rank in the bottom half of most statistics. And just like I talked about with Josh Allen in Buffalo, Baker Mayfield, you cannot slip up one bit, because this Chiefs offense will make you pay. And with all that being spelled out, as much as I would love to see the Browns pull out this upset, it would be one of the greatest single games I think I would have ever seen. This Chiefs team is just built different for the playoffs, and there's no reason that they shouldn't advance to the AFC Championship game after this, so I will be picking the Kansas City Chiefs. Moving over to the last game this upcoming Sunday, it's going to be the New Orleans Saints and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and this personally for me is going to be the closest game of the weekend in my eyes. I feel like that's what's going to happen, because these teams are both top-end defenses and top-end offenses. And the thing that the Saints need to worry about the most is obviously Tom Brady has damn near the most playoff experience among all quarterbacks ever. Tom Brady has always fought hard in the later rounds of the playoffs, so we know this, but never with offensive weapons like this. And that Bucs offense was able to put up over 520 yards last week on a top-end Washington football team defense. Now, obviously the Saints are right around that same realm, but it's going to take a massive effort in order to suppress that Tampa Bay offense, because as I've said in the past few weeks, Tom Brady and his weapons, they are in full force and they understand each other and how they play super well now. I think to keep up with this Bucs offense, obviously the Saints offense is going to need to perform extremely well, and that means making Michael Thomas a big part of this game. Now, he played fairly well against Chicago last week, as well as, Alvin Kamara, although I do feel like the Saints could have done a lot more. I don't know if they were holding back or if this is really all that we're going to get from them. And if that's the case, then it's hard not to see the Bucs win this game. And as we know, Drew Brees is more than likely going to be retiring at the end of the season, so you think there's going to be a little fire under him to try and go out for that one last championship, but I don't think it's going to make a difference here. Like I said, this will be the closest game of the weekend. In the end of it, I do think that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be moving on to the NFC Championship game next week. And that is going to round out the divisional round picks. If you guys thought any of these picks were awesome, or if you thought that they were awful, please let me know in the comments down below, and I will discuss everything with you guys. Obviously, this is going to get pretty heated this week. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure you hit the button down below to subscribe, and if you like this video, make sure you hit the like button as well. If you feel the need to share it with anyone, any platform, any person, and especially the crack dude around the corner will be your best option. You guys already know. My name is Nick, and this has been the divisional round picks for the NFL playoffs. I will see you guys all in next week's picks for the conference championships. Adios.